Welcome to another special edition of Sales TV Live, the marketing edition. This is the second in a limited series of Sales TV episodes specifically dedicated to the field of marketing. We're coming to you live from Northeastern University. We're joining a classroom full of Huskies in their Introduction to Marketing class. So students, thank you very much for hosting us and letting us be a part of your marketing education. Today, I'm joined by Valentia Gonzalez. Valentia is a social media strategist, serial learner, speaker, and marketing educator. She specializes in helping people build authentic connections through social media to create strong, purposeful online communities. Valentia, welcome. Let's get you on screen. There we go. Welcome. Please tell us a little bit about you and your marketing journey.
Yes, well, my name's Valentina Escobar Gonzalez, and I've been in business for almost 12 years. I've been using social media platforms professionally since 2008, and I'm so glad to be here with you all. I'm so eager to get started with this.
Valentina, I butcher names and I make no excuses for it, but I do apologize. Thank you.
There's no worry. I'm probably going to butcher someone's name too, so it's bound to happen.
That's quite all right. So I appreciate it. So this semester, we are learning about marketing themes, major themes in marketing. Each week, we explore various chapters from our textbook, going over marketing terms and marketing concepts. The overarching theme for this semester is to help the students learn how to think and talk like a marketer. At the end of this semester, if they can answer one simple question, I hope that I've done my job. And that question is, what is marketing? But when I asked you before if there was one thing you could teach the students about marketing, you said social media. Now, these students grew up as digital natives. They are generally prolific at social media, but they don't necessarily understand social media in terms of social media marketing for business. How is social media marketing for business different from the personal use of social media?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. With social media for business, there's so many different things to do with the business side of things. There's a lot of back-end features, there's a lot of back-end buttons, but the most important thing is the brand and what the brand stands for. So when you do social media, you have to be mindful that you're representing someone else, you're representing someone's baby, their business. So you have to be very intentional about what you're doing. And there's a lot of features on social media that you utilize in the business aspect. They're not available for the personal usage. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with 20-year-olds that just graduated and they're like, I didn't know you could do half these features on social media for businesses. And it's important to know that when you graduate, a lot of businesses are going to be like, here's my social media. I'm giving it to you. And then the pressure is on what can you do to deliver results with social media. So that's such an important question that you asked.
Thank you for that. I'm glad you mentioned jobs. Northeastern is known for its co-op programs. And as marketers, we expect a lot of companies will be calling on these students, the students in this very classroom, to run social media channels for the businesses that they're working for, even on a co-op, even on an internship basis. What's the first thing you would do in that role if you were hired as a social media marketing intern?
So the first thing I would do is look at the followers and see, okay, how many followers do they have today, October 13th? What is it that they have as followers? And then the first thing I always do whenever I do a one-on-one session with my clients is let's look at that bio. What does that bio say? And I can't tell you how many times I've worked with companies and the bio doesn't paint a picture. I love the example that Mark Schaefer mentions in his book, Known, is only I Only we. Can you complete that sentence? Can you complete that sentence and say, what is it that you do that no one else does in that business? So the first thing I would do is write down how many followers we have and then look at that bio and see if it paints a picture. I can't tell you how many times I work with companies and the bio is not complete. It's missing something, or there isn't a contact information, or if the contact information is there, it's the wrong contact information.
So we're in that role, we look at the bio, it's incomplete. I'm the college intern. Is it up to me to write that? Is it up to me to complete that? How do I take that next step and get that done?
And that is so important that you ask that, because a lot of people go into a role and they don't really know the culture. They don't really understand what the company has to offer. And it's so important to write that down and ask the person responsible, ask the boss, ask the CMO, ask whoever is in charge and say, okay, what is it that we do? What makes us stand out? And it's so important to get that right. And if I was the intern, I would ask for permission to say, hey, can I say that this is the widget that we have, or this is the product and service that we offer? It's so important to have that bio complete, because everything that you do on social media, whether you utilize hashtags, geotagging, you utilize stories, or whatever you do with whether it's LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, it's very important to know that that bio is the first thing people see when you utilize these strategies, such as hashtags, such as using locations, such as utilizing stories, or just being plain consistent. You have to make sure that that bio is complete. So I would definitely ask for permission and verify with someone if that's the right message that you want to give out to the community. And it might be a different message on Instagram versus LinkedIn versus Facebook.
I heard you mention at one point the number of followers. You just alluded to likes. How is job performance in this kind of role measured? Is it just about likes? Is it just about comments and shares?
I think it just varies on the boss itself. Some people are interested in vanity metrics. They're just interested in likes, or how many people responded. But there's so much more. When you look at the analytics on social media, it paints a better picture. It tells you what type of followers. And one of the things I always hear is, oh, I don't want to be on Instagram, or I don't want to be on a specific platform because it just caters to the young professionals, or young millennials, or Gen Xers or Gen Zers. I want to get the baby boomers, or I want a certain platform to do something for me. You'll be surprised. This is so important. You'll be surprised to see your analytics and see that you have followers from a right scope of ages. So it's important to see the analytics, not so much the likes and the comments, but the bigger picture. What type of followers are you getting? What ages? Where are they coming from? Are they local, or are they regionally, or are they a certain part of the country, or just this country? It's important to look at the analytics because it does paint a better picture. I always talk about the ROI of these numbers, but like 70% of shoppers check Instagram for the next purchase. So how do you quantify these likes and these comments when people are window shopping through your Instagram account?
So I heard you mention ROI, return on investment. We've talked a little bit about that in this class. How would you measure ROI in social media? For example, the window shopper. What are some things that maybe after hearing you, they bring to their next co-op and say, this is maybe a +1 way to think about what you've been doing before?
Yeah, so like for example, the accounts reached. So when you look at let's just stick with Instagram for the sake of being simple here. But let's say you're looking at your Instagram, you look at the accounts reached, and you're like, okay, how is it that, maybe we have 5 more likes, but we got, 20% more reach in our post? What is it that we utilize as a post? What was the caption? What was the story that we utilized to get that increase in accounts being reached? So one other stat that I love using with Instagram is 83% of users state that Instagram helps them discover new products and services. So again, back to the window shopping, when you just show them, oh, we have 5 new likes this week, it's important to show the accounts reach. What type of accounts, what type of demographic are we reaching that we're probably not reaching in other social media platforms?
So I think I know, but I'm going to ask you to define it anyway. Okay. When you talk about reach, what exactly are you referring to? And just as importantly, how is that measured?
Yeah, so reach, it could be a lot of things. It could be how many people are viewing your post impressions. So they're scrolling, they see that specific post. And how is that measured? It just varies. It could be you utilizing one hashtag. They say that when you utilize just one hashtag, you get 70% more likes and 392% more comments just utilizing one hashtag on Instagram. So it could be the hashtag usage. You're using a hashtag that maybe is the town, the city, the county that you reside in, and that's exposing your content to a new demographic. I don't know about you, but where I live in Northeast Tennessee, we have people moving here from all over the United States. So they're utilizing this hashtag and they're following this hashtag and discovering your business potentially because you utilize that hashtag. And it goes back to that bio. If that bio doesn't tell me what you do, they're going to look at you following them or engaging with them, and they'll see your bio and they're like, who is this person? Next. So back to that, it's the hashtag. It's maybe adding your location. When you add what your location to post, you get 79% more engagement. So utilizing the town, the city, the state that you are in does push your visibility and the accounts reach potentially higher because of that. So, and even down to the stories, if you're using hashtags in stories, there's people that have their GPS on their phone, so they potentially could see your story even though they don't follow you because they're following that hashtag or that location.
So we're talking a little bit about hashtags and reach and so on. I want to talk a little bit more of the technical of the industry,
Okay.
where it might be commonplace for you and I to understand it. For the Marketing 101 students, this may be their first exposure to it. First of all, how would you define organic versus paid posts? We've talked about posting, but we haven't talked about the details of it. I think we're all accustomed to one and maybe not so much the other.
That's a great question. So organic to me is what you post without spending money behind an ad. So again, the organic reach can vary is whether you post something as a picture, photo stock. A lot of people like to use social media posts with photo stock. I don't like using that necessarily. I like using pictures of myself or pictures that I've taken or something that looks real. So that's what I call organic reach. And again, it could vary depending if you're using what platform you're using, if you're using the hashtags, the stories, and that sort of thing, the location. Another thing is the reach with ads. So obviously, if you spend some money, it might push your post to a different audience, specifically if you are targeting individuals. And I like to use a three-pronged process. Meaning, I like to use money on likes. Maybe I want to reach the college students that just graduated. Maybe I want to reach a marketer. Then the second thing is I boost or amplify the reach of a certain post that I want to highlight, something special. Maybe it's some holiday thing that I'm doing, like a Halloween party. Then the third thing is the call to action. I want to pull those people to go to my website and do something on my website, whether it's to download something, book something with me, get to know me. So I try to have that approach when it comes to advertisement. So again, organic is something that you just post without spending money, and then obviously when you're using ads, you're gonna have to invest something. So that's my answer to that.
Okay, so we're a classroom full of college students, and to generalize, we're broke. Why would we pay for an ad when organic is free? And if it's free, it's for me. Why would anyone ever pay for their post to appear on Instagram or any of the other social platforms for that matter?
And again, it goes back to what I just said. If you're trying to target a specific audience, then it's worth the whatever you have, the $5, $10, $15, $20. If you're trying to really be obsessed with targeting a certain individual or amplifying the certain reach of something, then it does pay to post, because it does take time to build a presence on social media organically. It takes people want immediate results, but it does take time. You just have to be patient, and most importantly, consistency.
Couple of things I want to pick up on there. First, I heard you say $5, $10, $20. Advertising's thousands and thousands of dollars, isn't it?
Yeah, so it depends. If you're a small mom and pop shop, you can spend a little bit of money and it does push your content versus spending nothing at all.
And talk to us a little bit more about consistency. What do you mean by consistency on social media? Is there a standard cadence that you recommend for your clients?
Yeah, so if it's LinkedIn, I would probably post every day or every other day. If it's on Instagram, I'll probably post maybe twice a week, once a week, but I always have a story that is active on my Instagram account. So being consistent with those sort of things. If we were all consistent, let's just be honest, if we were all consistent, we would be rich, healthy, it would be a wonderful world. But the thing is, most of us lack consistency, and that's how people are not successful in marketing. You have to be focused. You have to always have something. What do you have? A calendar. I always tell clients, look at the National Calendar Day. What is the theme for today? What is it that your brand represents that you want to promote on a monthly basis, just to help your clients out too, or your customers? Being consistent. What is that plan in place? I always talk about the 80-20 rule. So 80% fluff, what am I doing today? 20% is, okay, I'm going to have a call to action in place.
Well, at least now I know why I'm not rich. So thank you for that. Is there a basic framework that you teach people when it comes to social media for business? You gave us some idea about, for this platform, you recommend posting this often and so on. Is there a higher level view of what's the approach, what's the theory, and how you would proceed?
It just varies on the client itself. There's some people like, you're never going to get me to post a video of myself. I'm rarely going to take a picture. So there's some people that don't want to put themselves out there. You have to respect that. Maybe you can push them to say, okay, what can we do at least once a month or once a week where you're comfortable posting something about yourself? Because people buy from people. You can post all the photo stock pictures in the world, but people want to see their leader. They want to see the person that's running, or employees there's something special about them. So I always think and say, okay, what can we say that would be consistent with what we're doing? Are we trying to build brand awareness? Are we trying to educate or inform people about our products and services? It just varies from client to client.
I want to remind the students, if you have something to ask, let me know. Love to hear from you as well. But I will continue. Let's see. So as students just now learning about these paid platforms, what tools would you recommend that we get to know, and how would we go about doing that?
And I'm so glad that you asked that question, because I feel like you have to be relevant. I do a lot of speaking engagements with the local universities here, and I'm going to just put this picture out there for you all. A lot of people are going to graduate with the same degree, even the same minor as you. What's going to separate you from the person next to you or to the side? What is going to make you stand out? You have to be relevant. How do you be relevant? Then this is what leads to that question. You have to stay informed. You have to try new things. I can't tell you how many things I've done in the past year because I have to keep my skills fresh. So I would subscribe to marketing newsletters. You can just Google it, marketing newsletters, and you can see all the different brands that I follow Mark Schaefer. I follow Marketing Profs. I follow Social Media Today. And then I take the time to listen to podcasts every week. I'm trying to grow my skills. I attended a marketing retreat by Mark Schaefer last April, and I joined Discord. And I didn't know anything about Discord, and I taught myself Discord. And then I got involved in the group in the Rise community, which is what we call ourselves in Discord. And someone's like, why don't we all write a book? And I'm like, I've never done that. I've never written a book. I've never, authored anything like that. And I'm an author in a chapter about Instagram in the most amazing marketing book ever. And it's just pushing yourself. I learned about crypto. I learned about Web3. I bought the Oculus, and, I learned all about that. I did a presentation through there. I can't tell you, you might have this fancy degree and you've worked so hard for it, but they're going to want to know what you do beyond that. Are you doing ChatGPT? Are you utilizing? It's so much easier to come up with social media posts when you can just type in, I'm the three personas that you guys cater to, the business that you're working with, or the co-op. These are the three. I want to media posts around these individuals. So this is so important. to know, these skills and push yourself, because like I said, you show up, you have this fancy degree. I even take it a step beyond that. This is what I would do. I'm going to tell you something that I haven't told that many people. If I was sitting in your seat right now, I would be dressed up because I want my professor to remember me. Okay, she's the one with the glasses, with the little cute scarf. She's always looking professional. They, as in your professor and the professors you have, they get thrown jobs at them all the time. And they're going to be like, you know what? I remember that girl, Valentina, in the front row that always looked nice and asked questions. And she's always asking me these crazy questions about AI. Maybe she would be the perfect person for this job role that hasn't even been announced in this company, but this would be a perfect role for her. So this is something beyond that question, but again, it's all about staying relevant and asking questions and showing your best self out there.
So I remember sitting in these very seats, well, not these very seats, but sitting in my Marketing 101 class and hearing somebody talk about writing a book. And my thought was, well, who gave you permission to do that? So I'm going to throw that right back at you. Who gave you permission to write that book, to produce that talk show, to do whatever it was to brand yourself and put yourself out there?
And again, it goes back to that question, what is it that you do to stay relevant? I have to do something to stand out from other people that are doing the same thing as me. And I want you guys to think about it. You might have a website. You might want to create a website. You might want to create a LinkedIn profile. Start doing these things now. Start connecting with your professors now, because this is so important. They're going to remember you potentially if you're memorable, if you stay in touch. I've even taken a step to go beyond that. I would send holiday cards and thank you cards and birthday cards to my professors, to my teachers. And it's not a bribe. It's just, that's how I am naturally. I'm a fuzzy person like that. So being intentional on how do you stay relevant and how do you be memorable with your teachers. If you don't do the website for yourself, if you don't clean up your LinkedIn profile, who's going to do that for you? Again, it goes back to, you're in a great school, you're a great university, you're getting this awesome degree, but how do you stand out next to the person next to you?
Let's talk specific platforms for a little bit, if you don't mind. Let's get in the weeds a little bit more to give them some under the hood idea. You mentioned to me before that you help people and businesses become memorable and intentional on Instagram.
Yes.
Take us to the best of your ability, step by step, how you would do that, and more importantly, the steps that we should be doing to do something like that.
Then it goes back to the first couple of questions. Instagram has about 2.2 billion active users. So think about it. It has about 58 times more engagement than Facebook. It is a platform where you can have a two-way street conversation with your customers if you use it right. So again, it goes back to the bio, making sure it's right, checking the links if it's the right link that you want for your business, being consistent, as in you post maybe once or twice a week, you have a story that's available. You post things that are relevant to what you have to offer, whether it's your product, the service, the widgets, what have you, making sure that you actually take the time to do these things, because, there's 500 million people that are daily active users. So this is a platform that's still there. I would utilize hashtags. I would utilize stories. I would add my location. And when I do stories, I make it engaging. I post about something. Think of marketing as having a tribe. Your customers are your tribe. They're your advocates. They're the people for you. I hate, this is a great example, but I hate referencing this because people don't think of Taylor Swift as this, but she has a great community. She has a great tribe. And how do you cultivate this tribe? I personally, every Wednesday, I have a mastermind group, networking group that I meet with in person that's 7 minutes away. So I drive there and I get there a couple minutes early and I do a video every Wednesday. I do a story and I talk about what I've learned, what new AI thing I've learned, what something that I learned on social media, something that I thought was a nugget to share with my community. And I tell my clients, you need to do the same thing because people, again, buy from people. So if you're working with a mom and pop or you're working for a corporation, they want to see that you are helping that corporation increase, their presence by showing that there's a human behind what they do.
I'll show my ignorance. I'm not an Instagram user, except when my wife sends me something.
I love it.
What's a story?
A story is a picture or video that disappears within 24 hours. And there's a lot of people on Instagram that only view stories, and there's people that only look at the news feed. So like right after this call, I'm going to have a sandwich. It's probably burned because I've been looking at my Instagram and following up with all the LinkedIn comments and the comments on social media. So I won't notice that my toast has burned. And then I'm going to just distract myself by looking at my stories to not notice that my toast has been burned. So I love engaging with that. When you see your stories, and as a business, you can see the eyeballs. So it shows you how many eyeballs and what eyeballs. Like, my mentors saw my story, my neighbors saw my story. So this is so important because it pushes me as a marketer, as a small business owner, to always have a story available because I can see those eyeballs returning day to day to look at my stories.
Ken, I'll open it up. Any questions from the students?
Yes. How do you work on managing the audience?
Nice and loud.
How do you work on managing the audience?
Did you get that?
I heard that. So be more specific. I want to know specifics. Tell me.
So you mentioned that you do a lot of work with companies, and you kind of have a variety of different ways to get out information. So you mentioned newsletters. But I can imagine that newsletters don't get the same attention as shorter form posts. How do you make sure that you have a large reach while also having a large supporter base that will back you?
I love that question. Well, technically, I was saying that I follow and subscribe to a lot of newsletters, but a lot of those things that I see on the newsletters, they repurpose it on their social media posts, like a little tidbit or a little teaser that makes me want to swipe, because when you stop and you look at Instagram and there's 10 different images on that one post and I swipe, I'm ingesting that. And I think Instagram recognizes that that's the type of content that people want to see. But when it comes to managing content, it just varies, because that question can vary from email, newsletter to social media.
Questions? I've got to know. Obviously, I'm not on Instagram, and it sounds like I should be. Where should I be right now?
So obviously you're doing a great job. You're crushing it. As a matter of fact, you deserve a cookie. You're crushing it on LinkedIn. You're doing great because that's your audience. But I also think that you should connect with the students by being on Instagram, by being on TikTok, and repurposing little, snippets of these calls, or these Zoom calls or streamed calls, and using that as something that they can tune into in case they miss the actual live session. So utilizing that snippets of your videos or posts of, what your lecture's on today, or the theme of it on your social media.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, we just did almost half an hour's worth of content, and I should be posting something on Instagram just coming right out of this. I don't have to create something brand new.
Yeah, you can actually just stream it live there through Instagram, and then you can call it a day. You can have this video post there. You share it to your story. You got to add a couple of hashtags. Valentina's talking about Instagram. She's talking about engagement. She's talking about this, and hashtags and sort of stuff like that. And then you can call it a day and have a series of reels or videos posted onto your Instagram feed. We can definitely talk about this later too. I would love to help.
All I heard is you said I could call it a day, so I'm
we got to simplify.
Any questions from the audience? What's that?
We have to use these tools to simplify our lives, just like how people are using ChatGPT to simplify their lives. We have to use social media as well. People just want to see from you, because you're such a thought leader. You're showing these students, you're pushing them, you're educating them, you're informing them. So they want to see that reflected on your Instagram account.
And I heard you say earlier, people want to do business with people.
Exactly.
The more that we can remember that, the more that we can bring that to these social media platforms, the better the actual performance when we're in these roles. And just to remind the students here, even as a social media manager that never gets in front of the camera for the company that you're interning, you can still drive those kinds of impacts. Would you agree?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Well, time has flown by. This has been great. Any last thoughts before we say goodbye?
I'm going to just say this because I care about you guys for taking the time to join me for the last 30 minutes. If I have to challenge you with anything right now, go on your LinkedIn, clean it up, get it up to date, and connect with your professor, connect with your buddy that you study with, because you never know 2 years, 3 years when you're out of college and you're looking for that job. It's so important to know those connections. It's so important to have those connections already on LinkedIn, and you can just say, hey, I'm looking for a job, or how can I help you? Because it's important to it be reciprocal as well. So definitely connect with those people that you have in your circle right now on LinkedIn, because you never know when you're going to need it in the future.
That is awesome advice. You heard it there. You'll hear it again. LinkedIn is your friend. This is probably the best time in your LinkedIn career. Everyone will connect with a college kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Valentina, thank you so much. It's been great. I will follow up with you. I obviously need more help, but I really appreciate it today. Students, if you
Thank
would
you.
please thank our guests for visiting.
Thank you.
With that, this has been another edition of Sales TV Live, the marketing edition. Join us again next week.